he's a genius, and he said to me, he said, make this a buffet for wrestling fans. You know, don't just cover one particular style. There's got to be something on the show for everybody, and that I think is what I'm proud of the most, if we execute it, is that there is something on the show for everybody, because there's all kinds of different fans, and everyone has their favorites and their favorite style, and this show is it's got it all. Hangman knows a little. He's been in on some of those closed door meetings.
I've seen the.
He knows.
Last night, pretty late at night, you tweeted out that you waited to get back to your room to watch the last installment of 10 Pounds of Gold, the documentary.
Oh yeah.
Which I think Lagana has done a phenomenal job from day one with it. How did you feel? And really take us deep into the emotions of how you felt watching the latest installment.
That's a tough road to go down, because David and the NWA team and Billy, they've captured the best thing you can capture in wrestling, and that's the real part of wrestling. What it was like for me in the family I am, what it's like for Brandy when I made the decision to leave WWE. And yesterday, the advice given to me was watch it on your own. I did, and I'm glad I did, because it was very touching. I hope you guys all check it out. The 10 Pounds of Gold series, all incoming. It's been amazing. I think it's something that wrestling going forward, not my stuff, wrestling going forward, I'd love to see more elements like that. I'd love to see more true doc, because some of this stuff is stranger than fiction that happens in this crazy world, and Lagana and his team have been able to cover it, and it's actually giving me this nice insight into Nick. I don't know Nick that well. Our names are, penciled on paper against one another, but I don't know him that well. I don't know his life. I don't know his story, and it's really special to see, if we weren't gonna beat the crap out of each other on Saturday, we'd probably be pretty good friends. It's a unique thing, and it's been very helpful for me. And I think if you like yesterday's, keep checking them out, because we're going to keep the NWA team and David Lagana, whether it's with the NWA or not, we're keeping them with us for as many matches as we possibly can. It's a great thing for fans.
Are you proud of yourself?
I'm very touched. I was in that little bar restaurant there last night, and I don't know if you've seen the menu.
Well, I got your text at 3 a.m. You were drunk. Yes.
I saw the menu, and the menu is featured, it's all of our likenesses, the American Nightmare Burger, the Pharaoh's Fries, how the hell that happened, and how we got here, and the serendipitous nature of All In, because that's the real thing nobody is talking about with All In, is how so many things just fell together. They just fell into place. Things that normally would cost money, things that normally would be kind of a headache. The sentiment was, if you three guys are going to do this, we're all coming. We're all coming, and we're going to support it, whether we're working for it or we're watching it. So if I was ever a moment in my life that I was proud, I'm very proud of All In Weekend and Starrcast and everything we're seeing here today. Yes.
On that 10 Pounds of Gold that you talked about, and I agree, Dave Lagana's done a tremendous job. We talked about it on the air many times. We're both Star Trek fans, and you talked about your wife, you talked about Brandy, and you talked about her being your Spock. Explain that to our listeners, and explain your relationship.
I mean, if I get a check for like $20,000, Brandy takes $19,000 of it and puts it in a separate account. That's kind of what I like. She's the fiscally responsible, logical thinking, perfect foil for my procrastination, for my bullshit, I guess. She's the absolute foil for me. That's what makes Brandy. She's not just my wife, she's my best friend, and she's my Spock. I like to think I'm Kirk, though. So it's a okay. Yeah. So no, she's my Spock, and I wouldn't even today. There's always something she's on top of that I forget about, and she's terrified the Pharaoh's up here right now. She's probably shaking her head back there somewhere, but yeah, she keeps everything straight and narrow for me. Hangman knows. Especially lately, I've lost that total loose cannon.
I wouldn't say that.
Just.
You said it before he came up here.
Yeah. So Brandy's there to straighten me out, just my ill behavior.
So here's another tough one. If All In comes off the way you want it to, exactly the way you want it to, between Starrcast and All In, on Monday morning, will All In have surpassed any one show that Dusty created?
Asking the hard questions.
It's tough to. I don't think I can speculate because it's mine. You know, it's me, Matt, Nick. It's the Being the Elite guys. It's all of yours. You know, it's by wrestlers, for wrestlers, by fans, for fans. If you look at this convention and you look at the show, I care more about whether Dusty would have a good time at All In than whether I win this match, if that makes any sense. Because he had this, the first time he tuned into ECW, this is a good example, I thought like, oh, he's gonna hate it. Look at what's happening, there's all kinds of sex and violence, and he was so entertained. And I remember because I used to sit in front of him with my little Hasbro figures and watch the shows every pay-per-view. So he had this forward-thinking knowledge that I think all of the real great minds in wrestling have. So I think if he saw this, he'd have a few touches for sure. He'd want to add into it, but I think he'd be pretty stoked about it. I hope he would. Yeah. I think he'd be real concerned about my mother, though. So by the way, I'm just going to tell you guys flat out, my mother's the most judgmental woman on the planet. I love her dearly, but bully met her. She basically comes to wrestling shows just to talk about how good or terrible people look. She's coming today. And if you recognize her from the 10 Pounds of Gold series or anything, if you could just tell her, I did a good job, it would make my day.
You know, Cody,
It would make my day.
Cody, by the way, if I was on Star Trek, I'd be one of the guys with the red shirt getting killed at the beginning of the show. But you talk about dreaming big. To be a part of this weekend, to sell out 10,000 seats in 30 minutes, to see what's going to be happening in April, a sold-out Madison Square Garden, the way wrestling has just completely changed over the last 6 months, to see that NWA Championship being defended in front of a sold-out crowd of over 10,000 fans, the growth of that, just the growth of the industry, with everything that you thought of and everything that you planned, did you really think it would come to this?
Oh no, I mean this was really, okay, we were getting a little frustrated, me, Matt, and Nick, as far as we should run a bigger building. We were seeing scenes like this. I mean, there's a lot of Bullet Club shirts, beautiful Hangman Page shirt. That's you right there. Give me a wave. Yeah. We were seeing a lot of the party, a lot of the sentiment of people really attached to the individuals in the Being Elite, the elite group. So we were kind of digging around with ROH and elsewhere, like, hey, we want to do a big building. How can we do a big building? If we breach contract, but if we pay for it, would you be mad? I mean, we just wanted to get a big building. That was it. It wasn't about the bet. I mean, a little bit, maybe a little bit. Maybe a lot about the bet.
Dave Meltzer is in the house someplace.
If Meltzer's here, get him up here right now.
So we got, you know, once we got the big building, it's just like I said, it was serendipitous. Things that were happening in wrestling, we're a small part of this boom that's happening. And it's a boom. Be proud of yourselves because it's a boom, you know? So we're just a small part in the NWA to see what they were doing, and he's pumping blood back into a title that is just on absolute life support. To see what's happening with New Japan and all the matches and how those matches are being compared to WWE matches perhaps, and just to see. I've watched WrestleMania and I've watched SummerSlam this year, and I'll always watch those shows. I mean, it's WrestleMania, I'm not going to miss it, but There's something missing. And I think what's missing is here in this room, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So that's what I want All In to be. What's missing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I remember talking to you when the concept first happened, and you said, I really don't know what I'm going to do on the show, and if there's nothing to do, I'm just going to sit back and produce it. Was that you throwing people off the scent? When did the idea pop into your head? And as a wrestler, you know that these ideas, they'll pop into our heads at any given time, at any given moment. When did you know, oh my God, this is it?
Probably on the 10 Pounds of Gold where Nick defeated Tim Storm is probably where I thought, I think I'm going to be full disclosure, and Nick can use this against me however he'd like. I think initially I thought, oh, what a good hook. The NWA title, what a good hook for the show. And since then, I've been completely proven wrong. It's not a hook. Nick is traveling around the world. This documentary crew has been with me every day. It's very real, and that's why I'm glad that I noticed. I'm glad that I got to catch it on my phone that day and see that clip.
So if it never happened, you'd probably just be producing the show.
If it never happened, I mean, you know me, really selfish. I honestly do think I'd probably be producing the show, because one thing I was really excited about, I probably won't get to do tomorrow, and that's put on a headset and direct cameras. I really thought, oh, I bet I can do a good job at this, and there's like 20 people who are going to do a better job than me, and I'm going to pop in the matches I can, probably later in the card, but we'll see.
Well, Cody, I think I'm speaking for everybody that's in the house right now. We wish you luck on Saturday night, and I hope we see a new NWA champion. Hangman Page, thank you so much for the time, man. You're awesome. Cody, I wish you all the luck. This is unbelievable.
Great job.
And for us to be a part of this, and Nation, thank you so much for being a part of this as well. I mean, Starrcast 18, fully, it's been an awesome job by you and doing this show with you, and a historic weekend for fans of pro wrestling.
I'm glad we got to do this. I'm glad we got to connect with the Nation, guys. Thank you so much for being up here. Let's have fun.